everyone, and welcome, where we are going to give you some tips about engaging your young learners in your classrooms and also in your online lessons. So there are 3 ways you can engage your students while using props, and that's using some toy props, some flashcards, and also your real life Braille. So in one of my lessons, actually, or some of my lessons, I've used this toy prop, and that is my doll called Shy. She's a dog, and I find that my young learners really love pets. So I use her when my student is feeling shy, not confident. So instead of them speaking to me one-on-one, I use Shy and say, hello, how are you? So they are able to engage with me and the toy rather than them being quiet in your lessons. How about you, Shirley? How do you use your toy props?
Well, I also have an animal prop, and this is my monkey, Mo the monkey. I usually introduce him to my students as my best friend, Mo the monkey, and they absolutely love him. I use him to greet my students, to help them get engaged, or if students are feeling shy and they don't really want to talk to me as a teacher, I'll just have them talk to Mo the monkey, and that automatically helps them be more relaxed, more confident, and more comfortable in the classroom, which I think is a really good way to keep our students engaged and focused on learning.
That is true, Shirley. Those are some good tips. Okay. And another way we can engage our young learners is through flashcards. Okay. So I sometimes like to use food flashcards to show them, when I ask them, what did you eat today? And they would say a pie. And then I would show them, is this the pie? And they would say yes or no, to see if they understand what question you are asking. So it's good to ask open-ended questions while using flashcards so that they can respond and also associate the picture to the vocabulary. I sometimes like to use flashcards of a family when I want to teach them vocabulary. I find this to be useful in my lessons, especially with a student that does not know family vocabulary, such as mom, dad, sister, or brother. Makes it easier for them to associate the word again to the picture while you point at the flashcard. How about you, Shirley?
Well, one of the most common flashcards I use is your feelings. So if a student doesn't understand the question, how are you? I can easily show them, are you happy? Are you sad? And that automatically also helps them link the vocabulary to the pictures. I think these 2 props also work well when teaching emotions, not just how are you, but how do you feel today? Do you feel happy? Do you feel really sad? And some other props is my favorite, the color props. I think this works well with literally anything. You could be teaching a lesson about clothes or food, and you could extend by asking the colors and using the color flashcards with them.
I like the way your color flashcards have words, because that also helps them to recognize the word and the color at the same time, teaching them how to read independently, as well as be able to see, oh, green, this is how you say it, this is how it looks, or the word looks like.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Wonderful. Now, our 3rd type of prop is real life Braille. I usually use sunglasses when I'm speaking about activities such as the beach, the sun, when I want to ask my student, so what do you do at the beach? And then if I want them to give them a full sentence or help them to use a full sentence, I'll say, I put on my sunglasses. So they know put on and sunglasses. Okay. And I sometimes usually use a toothbrush when I ask them, did you brush your teeth this morning? So that they understand the word brushing or the verb brush. Okay. So it makes it easier for them to see what you're doing and what object you have in your hand, so that they'll be able to recognize toothbrush means to brush your teeth. Okay, and how about you, Shirley?
Well, I've got 2. The first one would be fruit, anything I can really find in my house that will relate to the lesson. So I would use fruit like oranges or apple when teaching fruit or food vocabulary. And I find it works really well to use realia when using or teaching verbs. For example, drink or different objects like water. I think it really works well to use real life objects because most of our students will be able to relate to what it is, and also they will be able to learn the vocabulary and be able to use it in a sentence too.
That is quite true. So everyone, there you go. Our tips from Shirley and I. That's all you need in your online lessons. Even in your classrooms, you just use props to engage more of your young learners in your lessons. It helps if they can associate with the use of pictures, real life realia, or even toys, because as we all know, the young ones really love toys. And it also helps them to be able to associate the word, the verb, your noun to the picture or the toy or real life realia. As we all know, sometimes you don't have those toys, so just use a real life object. Okay, and do you have anything to add on to that, Shirley?
Not much, but I really think it's important to note that when teaching young learners, the main point of using props and real life objects and flashcards is to keep them engaged, but not only to keep them engaged, to teach them in a way that's fun and educational for them. Most kids or most young learners love learning with visual items. So yes, I think using props, real life objects, flashcards is really great for our lessons with young learners.
I couldn't agree more. So everyone, there you go. We are done. And thank you very much for joining us and watching us. And I hope you all join us yet again for some more tips on how to engage your young learners. So from Shirley and I, we would like to bid you farewell and goodbye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Become a TEFL expert with IQTEFL. Go to our website at www.iqtefl.com to find out more.